Welcome to Drevolution, and today we're going to list down all the breathing styles in Demon Slayer. Beast breathing is a breathing style that mimics beasts, wild animals, specifically their unpredictable, ferocious, and wild nature, including movements, attacks, and senses, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. Most, if not all, known techniques and forms are simple, straightforward yet wild, unpredictable and animalistic movements and attacks, although one of them utilizes the powerful sense of touch to replicate an animal's primal senses. Users of beast breathing also visualize themselves seemingly manifesting the fangs and claw slashes of a wild animal when unleashing its techniques. Flame breathing is a breathing style that mimics flames and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. Most, if not all, known techniques and forms involve extremely powerful singular strikes, which burn their opponents, with most attacks being initiated from a high stance. Users of flame breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating fire when unleashing its techniques. This breathing style was created by one of the Demon Slayers during the Sengoku period, who was the head of the Rengoku family. Yoriichi Tsugikuni attempted to teach him and the other Demon Slayers sun breathing, but due to them not being as innately powerful as Yoriichi, they were instead taught an alternated personalized breathing style that focused on their individual strengths and weaknesses. In the case of the Rengoku ancestor, the technique evolved into flame breathing. From then onwards, the breathing style has been passed down for generations, and the flame Hashira position was always fulfilled by someone from their lineage. Kyojuro Rengoku carried the tradition forward in the footsteps of his father and former flame Hashira, Shinjuro Rengoku. However, after Kyojuro's death, Rengoku family's long-standing tradition of passing down the flame breathing technique has come to an end. Flower breathing is a breathing style that mimics both perennial flowers and fruit blossoms and replicates them with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. Most, if not all, known techniques and forms are a combination of graceful attacks that focus on agility. This breathing style also enhances and utilizes one's vision, albeit at the possible cost of their eyesight. Users of flower breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating flowers and petals when unleashing its techniques. Insect breathing is a breathing style that mimics insects, specifically their lethal stings and movements, and replicates it with users' movements, techniques, and abilities. Most, if not all, known techniques and forms include stabbing, thrusting, and making shallow cuts with a specially coated made sword to inflict multiple wounds onto the intended target in order to inject various lethal wisteria-based poisons into them. Users of insect breathing also visualize themselves seemingly manifesting insects, mainly butterflies, when unleashing its techniques. This breathing style is the personal creation of Shinobu Kocho, who designed it to compensate for her lack of physical strength to behead a demon. Love breathing is a breathing style that is based on the emotion of love, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques inculcate a gymnastic and movement-oriented rhythm into the user's attacks, making use of their superhuman flexibility, dexterity, and agility to perform wide, winding, and weaving slashes that have mid to long range applications. Users of love breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating pink and green sparks, as well as pink lines that follow the direction of their attacks. This breathing style is the personal creation of Mitsuri Kanroji, made by altering the flame breathing she learned from Kyojuro Rengoku to suit her flexibility and strength. It takes advantage of her body's unique muscle density, which grants her inhuman strength without making her physically bulky, to deliver fast and powerful blows while moving with incredible flexibility and agility. As it relies on her body's special composition, it is a style only she can use. Mist breathing is a breathing style that mimics mist, specifically the obscurity of mist, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques forms involve obscure movements and attacks that disorientate and confuse the target, similar to how a thick layer of mist obscures one's vision. Users of mist breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating mist when unleashing its techniques. Based on mist breathing's only known user, Muichiro Tokito, who wears baggy clothing that covers his arms and legs, in order to conceal his movements as much as possible. It can be assumed that most other users would also have to don clothing that hide their limbs from their enemy in order to fully maximize the potential of this breathing style. Moon breathing is a breathing style that mimics the moon, specifically the crescent shape of the moon as it waxes and wanes and the erratic behavior of passing moonlight, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques and forms are standard yet varied swordsmanship techniques that focus on swift and powerful strikes, which blends both offense and defense. Most sword slashes performed follow the shape and pattern of crescent moons. Like all of the other original breathing styles, moon breathing also branched out of sun breathing, when its creator, Michikatsu Tsugikuni, attempted to learn sun breathing from his twin brother Yoriichi. He discovered he was unable to master it, instead creating and mastering an alternate breathing style that would later become known as moon breathing. Moon breathing is solely used by Michikatsu Tsugikuni, one of the first demon slayers to ever utilize total concentration breathing, and is a breathing style which he continued using and perfecting after becoming a demon. Kokushibo uses moon breathing in conjunction with his blood demon art, which allows him to unleash barrages of erratic crescent moon-shaped blades, an ability which complements his breathing style and also made it more deadly and effective. Serpent breathing is a breathing style that mimics serpents, trolls, snakes, specifically their slithering motions and fast-striking attacks, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques and forms focuses on twisting and bending the sword like how a serpent slithers. The attacks are not direct and constantly meander, which can ultimately strike anywhere, which can fool opponents and catch them off guard. Users of serpent breathing also visualize themselves seemingly manifesting white serpents that accompany them when unleashing its techniques. Since this technique is currently known to only be utilized by Obanai Iguro, it can only be used with a twisted blade that is similar in appearance to an Indonesian kris sword, with the sword's shape modeled into the bodily structure of a snake. Sound breathing is a breathing style that mimics sound, specifically its disorientating loudness, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques and forms utilize explosives to deal massive amounts of damage while making use of extremely fast movements similar to how fast sound travels, as well as the user's sense of hearing. Users of sound breathing also visualize themselves seemingly generating and manipulating loud sounds and explosives when unleashing its techniques. Since this combat style was presumably created by Tengen, it can only be used with a specific set of weaponry, which is two gigantic nunchucks-like Nichiren cleavers, which each have a notch in the sharp ends of their blades, and are held together at the hilt by a metal chain. His swords are said to have large amounts of explosive power, and it is stated that, until Tengen's fight with Upper Rank 6, no demon had ever survived a blow from them. Stone breathing is a breathing style that mimics earth and stone and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques and forms utilize the ground beneath the user and the vast surroundings to generate powerful and sturdy attacks that specialize in both offense and defense. Based on the only user in the series, Gyomei Himejima, it can be assumed that stone breathing can only be used with a flail and/or axe. However, in Kokushibo's flashback, the progenitor of stone breathing is seen wielding a giant kusarigama-like weapon. Hinokami Kagura is a breathing style only known and taught by the Kamado family, later revealed to be the first breathing style, sun breathing. They use it within a ritual ceremony practiced every new year, where the breathing style user offers the fire god a dance from sunset to sunrise to ward off threats and diseases. All other breathing styles are derived from it as the result of Yoriichi Tsugikuni, its creator, modifying it to suit the individuals he taught who were unable to use it. Both the Hinokami Kagura and sun breathing are breathing styles that mimic the sun and replicate it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. All techniques and forms are extremely varied and have no set pattern, making it the most versatile and effective against demons. Users of sun breathing visualize themselves seemingly manipulating solar flames when unleashing its techniques. Thunder breathing is a breathing style that mimics lightning, specifically swift strikes and movements akin to lightning ripping through the sky, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques and forms involve utilizing blinding speeds and immensely fast attacks to overwhelm the enemy in an instant. Users of thunder breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating lightning and electricity when unleashing its techniques. It has been remarked by Zenitsu Agatsuma that this breathing style focuses on channeling strength into the user's legs and maximizing the output of every single muscle and blood vessel in them. Users also mimic lightning to such high fidelity that they cause the air to vibrate when poised to unleash a technique and create immensely loud sounds akin to thunder with their mere footsteps. This breathing style is also very reminiscent of a swordsmanship style practiced and utilized in real life, known as Iai Jutsu, a famous quick-draw sword technique. Water breathing is a breathing style that mimics water, specifically the flow, flexibility, and adaptability of the liquid, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques involve the user bending their body, arm, and weapon in a fluid motion to match the movements of rushing or flowing water. Users also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating water when unleashing its techniques. This breathing style was originally created by one of Yoriichi Tsugikuni's students, who attempted to learn sun breathing. But due to not being as innately talented as Yoriichi, they were instead taught and trained an alternative personalized breathing style that focused on their strengths and weaknesses, eventually becoming water breathing. It is said to be the most common breathing style among demon slayers, due to being the easiest to learn for beginners. A known cultivator of water breathing in the Demon Slayer Corps is Sakonji Orokodaki, though there are other cultivators as well. Wind breathing is a breathing style that mimics wind, specifically powerful torrents of air and whirlwinds, and replicates it with the user's movements, techniques, and abilities. This breathing style's known techniques and forms involve purely offensive attacks, most of which utilizing fast-rotating movements to generate swift whirlwind-like slashes that greatly increase the wielder's striking range, as well as utilizing the air around them to deliver sharp sickle-shaped flying slash attacks and gale force winds. Users of wind breathing also visualize themselves seemingly creating and manipulating wind when unleashing its techniques. This breathing style is also extremely reminiscent of the real-life swordsmanship style, Jigen Ryu, a sword-wielding style that emphasizes on the opening strike and high stances. This breathing style was created from one of Yoriichi Tsugikuni's students, who attempted to learn sun breathing. But due to not being as innately powerful as Yoriichi, they were instead taught an alternated personalized breathing style that focused on their individual strengths and weaknesses, which eventually evolved into wind breathing.